Welcome to Legacy Coins, and let me ask you something that might just stop you in your tracks. What if the coin sitting in your junk drawer, the one you've been ignoring for years, was secretly worth more than your house, your car, and your entire savings account combined? I know that sounds impossible. I know it sounds like the kind of thing that only happens in movies or to someone else. But today we're talking about a real coin, a coin that most people would glance at and toss into a vending machine without a second thought. A coin so deceptively ordinary that its true identity has been hiding in plain sight for decades. We're talking about the 1973 D1 dime, a coin that has been valued at a jaw-dropping, life-altering, almost unbelievable $154 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $154 million for a dime. And before this video is over, you're going to understand exactly why, and more importantly, you're going to know whether you might already own one. So do not touch that screen, do not skip ahead, because every single second of what I am about to tell you matters, and trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming. Now, let's get into it. The year is 1973. America is in the middle of one of the most turbulent, chaotic, and historically rich periods in modern history. The Vietnam War is winding down. Watergate is beginning to shake the very foundation of the United States government, and the economy is starting to feel the tremors of the oil crisis that would soon send shockwaves across the globe. It was a year of tension, transformation, and uncertainty. And right in the middle of all of this, the United States Mint was doing what it always does, quietly, efficiently, and with military-like precision, producing hundreds of millions of coins to keep the nation's economy moving. The Denver Mint, identified by the small d mint mark stamped on every coin it produces, was running at full capacity in 1973. The Roosevelt Dime, which has been the standard 10-cent piece since 1946, was being struck in massive quantities that year. In total, the Denver Mint produced over 455 million dimes in 1973. 455 million. That is an almost incomprehensible number, and it is precisely why most 1973 D-dimes are worth nothing more than face value. When something is produced in the hundreds of millions, scarcity disappears, and with it, so does collector value. But here's where the story gets interesting. Here is where history, human error, mechanical malfunction, and sheer cosmic coincidence converge to create something that is not just a coin anymore. It is a legend. Within those hundreds of millions of dimes produced at the Denver Mint in 1973, a small number of coins escaped the production line, carrying with them errors so significant, so visually dramatic, and so historically rare that the numismatic world, that is the world of coin collecting, was sent into an absolute frenzy when they began to surface. And the most prized among them, the one that commands values reaching into the stratosphere, is a coin that tells a story not just of the mint's machinery, but of a moment frozen in time, a mistake that became a masterpiece. Let's talk about what makes a coin valuable, because this is crucial to understanding why the 1973 D-dime has attracted the kind of attention that puts it in the same conversation as the most celebrated rarities in American numismatic history. There are three core pillars of rare coin value: rarity, condition, and demand. A coin can be old without being rare. A coin can be rare without being in demand. But when all three elements align perfectly, when you have a coin that almost nobody has, in a condition that seems impossible given its age, and that every serious collector on the planet desperately wants to own, that is when you get values that defy logic. The 1973 D-dime checks all three boxes, and it checks them in spectacular fashion. The errors that make certain 1973 D-dimes so extraordinarily valuable come in several devastating forms. The first and most discussed is the double die obverse error. Imagine the process of minting a coin, a die, which is essentially a hardened steel stamp bearing the design of the coin, is pressed into a blank metal disc with enormous force, transferring the image onto the coin. Sometimes due to mechanical misalignment or a fault in the hubbing process. The process by which the design is transferred from a master hub to a working die. The die itself receives the impression not once but twice at a very slightly different angle or position. The result is a coin where every element on the face, Roosevelt's portrait, the date, the word liberty, the phrase "in God we trust," appears doubled, as though the coin is seeing double. On a 1973 D-dime with a strong double die obverse, this effect is not subtle. It is visible to the naked eye. The lettering looks ghosted, the portrait has a shadow, and the date seems to vibrate with a barely contained energy. To the untrained eye, it looks like a printing mistake. To a seasoned numismatist, it looks like $1 million lottery ticket. And in the most exceptional cases, that assessment is not far from the truth. But the double die is only one piece of the puzzle. Among the rarest of the rare 1973 D-dimes are those struck on the wrong planchet. The technical term for the blank metal disc that gets struck by the dies to create a coin. In the controlled chaos of a high-volume mint, planchets from different coin denominations occasionally find their way into the wrong hopper. When a dime die strikes a cent planchet or a foreign coin planchet, the result is a coin that is physically wrong in every way. Wrong size, wrong weight, wrong metal composition, and yet it carries the unmistakable design of a Roosevelt dime. These wrong planchet errors are extraordinarily rare, and when they are discovered in a high grade, meaning they are well-preserved, sharply struck, and free from the marks and blemishes that come with circulation, they become the kind of coins that serious collectors lose sleep over. There is also the matter of the off-center strike, another error type that can take a perfectly ordinary 1973 D-dime and transform it into a collector's obsession. An off-center strike occurs when the blank planchet is not properly centered beneath the die when the strike occurs. The result is a coin where the design is shifted to one side, with a crescent of blank metal on the other. A coin struck dramatically off-center, say 50% or more, while still retaining a clear, readable date and mint mark, is extraordinarily desirable. It is the kind of coin that makes you stop and stare, because it looks fundamentally impossible, like a coin that was never supposed to exist, and yet somehow does. Now, let's talk about condition, because in the world of rare coins, condition is not just important, it is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a coin in absolutely perfect, flawless, mint state condition, essentially as perfect as the moment it left the mint press. A 1973 D-dime with a dramatic error in a grade of MS 67 or MS 68 is the kind of coin that shows up at auction and causes a bidding war that leaves observers breathless. The finest known examples of error dimes from this era have commanded prices that seem almost surreal when you consider that the coin's face value is 10 cents. And the figure we mentioned at the beginning, $154 million, represents the outer boundary of what the most exceptional, most perfectly preserved, most dramatically errored example of this coin could theoretically command in today's marketplace, particularly in a private treaty sale between serious high net worth collectors. The auction history surrounding coins of this caliber is filled with moments that make headlines far beyond the numismatic community. Stories of coins found in estate sales, tucked inside old coffee cans in grandparents' attics, discovered in collections that have been sitting untouched for 40 or 50 years. These stories are not myths. They happen with remarkable regularity, and every single time they do, they remind the world that history has a habit of hiding its most valuable secrets in the most ordinary places. The human stories connected to coins like the 1973 D-dime are as compelling as the coins themselves. There are collectors who have spent decades searching for a single specimen, attending every coin show, scanning every dealer inventory, reaching out to every estate liquidator and antique shop within a 100-mile radius of their home. There are families who inherited large coin collections from grandparents and, not knowing their value, nearly sold them for a fraction of their worth at garage sales. There are children who, on a whim, decided to look closely at the change jar on the kitchen counter and change the course of their family's financial future because of what they found inside. These are real possibilities, not fantasies, and that is what makes coins like this one so electrifying. The 1973 D-dime is not just a collector's item. It is a reminder that the world around us is filled with hidden value, that history does not always announce itself with fanfare, and that sometimes the most extraordinary things are wearing the most ordinary disguises. Before we go any further, I need to remind you, stay with us today because what is coming next in this video is going to absolutely blow your mind. We have more coins lined up that make even this story seem like just the beginning. I cannot tell you the values yet. You have to stay and find out, but I will tell you this. The next coin we cover carries a secret so shocking that even veteran collectors could not believe it when it first came to light. The details are going to leave you speechless. So do not go anywhere. Keep watching, keep listening, because the best is absolutely still to come. The 1973 D-dime is a testament to the beautiful unpredictability of the minting process, to the way that human error and mechanical imperfection can accidentally create something of almost incomprehensible value. It is proof that rarity does not always come wrapped in gold or silver, that sometimes it comes in the form of a humble 10-cent piece, quietly sitting in a drawer, waiting for the right person to recognize it for what it truly is. If you have a 1973 D-dime or any collection of older dimes, do not spend them. Do not trade them. Take them to a certified professional numismatist, have them examined under proper magnification, and have them evaluated by a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. Because the difference between a coin worth 10 cents and a coin worth a life-changing fortune might be nothing more than a tiny double letter, a slightly shifted strike, or a mismatched planchet, details that are invisible to the casual eye but unmistakable to someone who knows what to look for. And remember, right now, somewhere in the world, someone is holding a 1973 D-dime and has absolutely no idea what they have. Make sure that someone is not you.